Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
That was fun.
Always.
You said something there, Nathan, that put me back a little bit. You mentioned Chris Monk's model. And I remember back in the day when we were looking at it, there's 2 points to this, and both are nice ball slappers. When the first, I suppose, is a critique of Chris's model. It was really well done. But what he actually did was place the observer and then build the model on a ball. So the distance from the observer to the Isle of Man was viewed over a ball. And then he placed that ray tracing, which had been done on the Isle of Man, I think, by the military. I think that's where he got it from, wasn't it? It was a proper scanned model.
Just trying to find it on my screen thumbnail as well.
But as far as I remember, he placed that on the model, and it was a official model. And when he placed it on, I remember asking him, did he then have to layer it onto the surface of the ball he'd made? And he said no, it was flat. So 2 points. First thing is the actual data that he'd got from official sources showed the water as flat, because when he tried to just place that model onto the ball, it didn't fit. The water was flat. But secondly, it also means that we gave the ballers in all those observations even more leeway, because if the distance was to the nearest point at the island, at that point, in Chris's model, the cumulative effect of the curvature ceased.
Right.
Because at that point it became a flat model, and that was because the original data, I think it's military, I want to say in my head.
Yeah, it was I can't remember the name of the scan, but it was like a laser scan.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Wasn't it LiDAR?
I was going to say LiGo, and I didn't want to get it wrong. You're right. It was a LiDAR scan. That's correct, Ranty.
Yeah. So if you see the image on screen now, if that box coming up is the image looking over the ball, then as soon as from that point on that cumulative drop stops, and Chris's model just had a flat Isle of Man stuck on, so it would curve, the Earth continued to curve underneath it, but the Isle of Man was flat.
Right. Well, I've got this up for a slightly different reason, just because it was being detailed earlier and I forgot I had this image and I just stumbled across it whilst looking for the model. I will hopefully find that before the end of the show. But it's a great image because it's useful for essentially detailing how they've hijacked perspective. So this is Muppet vision. What we've got here is a side elevation. Now there's a certain 3D or certain three-dimensionality to it that I want you to ignore for the purposes of this. But nevertheless, this is a representation of a slice, a side view. So if you take this box as being the frame of what you see in your camera, this is your camera view. So it gives you kind of a representation of that being the frame. Now obviously it's very tall and thin because we've turned it on its side, not quite through 90 degrees, but nearly, so we can see this box that represents the frame. So in the same token, this line goes down to the side of the head of the observer. So like in this instance, this is supposed to be the picture with inside this box on the left. But we're not getting that, we're getting the side view, which isn't representative of what's in this picture. Nevertheless, because we're in a side view, the mountain that's closest to the actual observer in actual size on this picture is exactly the same size as this mountain over on the far right. Now in reality, in your picture, you've got a mountain that's close to you and a mountain that's much smaller further away, way behind it. But that isn't how it's represented when you turn it side on. You remove all aspects of perspective. So this is just a useful image for me to say that's how I'm trying to detail what Ranty's explaining, Because what Ranty's saying is, on your frame, so you can't see my mouse unfortunately in the Hangout, but for the audience's benefit, on the left-hand side of the frame, looking out over, over here, you can have a certain type of weather, and on the right-hand side of the frame, which is looking over here, you've got a different type of weather. But because the mathematics of the globe only represents it in this side elevation, you've only got one slice, one straight view from observer to target, no horizontal arc to take into account the fact that between here and here, in reality, you could have completely different weather, necessitating totally different measurements, not just an arbitrary 7/6R, begging the question of the sphere in the first place. But by putting it on its side, you're removing perspective, and you only have to deal with this one side slice of the representation when you're taking into account this side, the left, having a completely different weather to this side, the right. You've only got this side profile and one angle only. So when Ruhif had to address this, it doesn't matter. Well, yeah, it does matter. It's incredibly important, especially if you're going to assume R and say that's acceptable. So while I'm hunting, Adam, I don't know if you've got anything to add, but I'll see if I can find the actual Isle of Man model, hopefully. It's the thing on the T-shirts.
Yeah, if you want to put me up, Nathan,
sure.
Just sharing. This is to just give an idea, this is how I envisage it. So if this is an image taken of a skyline, I think this is Hong Kong at the moment. Now, I've no idea of the distances, so I can't actually be specific about how far this actual image is because I've just pulled it up on Google. But what I'm saying here is that if on the left-hand side in this area, let's suppose the people living here have the conditions there are, say, 20 degrees, and over this side here, the weather conditions are 17 degrees. So it's quite colder over this side than it is on this side. And we're going to assume that this is, say, a 20-mile stretch of sea from here. So 17 degrees over here and 20 degrees over here. And what I've done is I've cropped out in the middle. And instead of seeing this perfect symmetrical skyline, which we always do, the buildings are always in proportion, nothing's ever changed or warped. What we're probably going to see, or we should see, is something like that, where there's a different refractive zone with just 17 degrees over here. It's flattened it out, let's say. And on this side, it hasn't because it's 20 degrees. And you would see this warping effect, like so.
However, what they do is they take
like
the line,
that.
But they take the line you originally drew, and then that one line that you originally drew down the centre of it is the only angle they worry about, because they're going to take that line and flip it 90 degrees onto its side into Muppet vision, otherwise known as orthographic view, in case anyone wants the technical term for Muppet vision. Orthographic view is that line Ranty drew in the first instance. If you
it's just one strip. That's one strip. From the side on, it's one strip.
Exactly.
From there to there.
Yeah.
But in these images, you have, say, 10,000 strips going across. And to get a flat image, a completely symmetrical image, all the gradients have to be the same. They have to have the same weather conditions across all this water section from the object to the camera lens across the whole section. And if it's not, if this has a different area where it's different weather conditions over here, then the light is going to be not reaching your camera at 7/6R. It might be reaching at 8/6R. In which case you're going to get all this distortion whenever you take these skyline images, but we never see that. And I think that kind of debunks the notion that different temperatures and temperature gradients have an effect on ambient light.
Just to let you know that the 35 people in Discord can't see what you're talking about. Yeah, just to let you know.
I know. I'm sorry. Tough.
No, not Nathan. Just Ranty and everyone else. So they can't. They're not going to be able to speak to it.
Sure, we appreciate that. But I'm just going to make my last example just because I've now got it on screen. So this is the Isle of Man model. So when I said it looked like an almond, that's what I'm talking about. As you're looking down this image, you're seeing further and further away. Now, at the top, you can probably see this arc. Well, that's the actual image that was... Whoever's typing in Discord, for Jesus' sake, put yourself on mute. So this arc is the actual image that Anthony took. It's like a sliver in the image. It's slightly darker, because this is an overhead view of the model that was made by LiDAR and then transposed onto this image, which is this arc. But, as you can see... Even though this is the start of the image and this is the end, of the image, the picture, the photograph that Anthony's composited together, or put a composite together of, what you're only actually ever looking at when you look at the maths is one line. So we're going to see when it's in the curve maths, this being the right-hand side of the image, yeah, the target, and this being the left-hand side of the image, down here where we've got the actual observation, St. Bees, Isle of Man. So you'll end up having that represented as left-hand side observer, right-hand side target. Well, that means you've only got this one line to worry about in terms of what the conditions are like, even though on the left-hand side you could have vastly different conditions to on the right-hand side. You know, a storm could be coming in over here and it could be completely still in sunshine over here on the image. But if you've only got one line, a cross-section in Muppet Vision, turned at 90 degrees, so you're literally then looking at this section, the 90 degree on Muppet Vision section, the orthographic view, then you don't have to worry about things getting further and further away from the observer. And in this instance, when Ranty's detailing the weather, the fact that one side could have to have a magical amount of refraction bringing it back and the other side might not need any because of the varying conditions. But that doesn't have to be accounted for in their maths if you've only got one line to worry about. Even though the image is clearly not comprised of one line, it could be millions, as Ranty puts it. Anyway, that's me done.
Yeah, well, as long as people get the gist of that, I think they can work with it, and they'll hopefully get to understand that concept. You know, like you say, Muppet Vision, they take one slice of the pizza, right? So there's one slice of the pizza that they take out, and they say, right, this is the same for the entire image. But if you've taken a snapshot of a skyline of, say, 50 miles from one side to the other, then that pizza has to have the same temperature from left to right the whole way. Otherwise, the image won't be symmetrical. And we always see a symmetrical image.
Yeah, unless there's very obvious refractive effects going on that are normally detailed if you wiki any of these terms they hijack, like looming or...
Refractive effects. They don't even know what refraction is, for crying out loud. We're going to deal with that Saturday on Ballbusters, brother. It's game time, and the game's over.
Yeah, they don't use refraction. Refraction is something else they've hijacked. Refraction would be this transition of light from its straight path. Well, that transition has been claimed to curve light through endless, seemingly glass slices of Earth that refract the light at 7/6 of a presupposed radius value when no measurements are ever taken. Well, that presupposition is not refraction. It's called terrestrial refraction, otherwise known as the mathematical values 7/6R.
Ranty, you know, on
Precisely.
that, when you were talking with Ruif, he kept saying that, yeah, to do your 7/6, you had to get to a certain height, because apparently, and I didn't understand the point, so you can give a bit of clarity. He was kind of saying that refraction doesn't work at lower levels, or you don't understand refraction, Ranty. That's why you can't take these observations near the ground. I assume it's only because it disproves a ball, but was there any real validation?
No, he was trying to say that the wind was able to affect the observation somehow by churning up the weather conditions.
What at lower ground? So the wind don't move up high up.
So if you went above that layer where all this dynamic stuff is going on, then you should get out of that dirty zone, and a lot of it's down to the wind.
Well, doesn't it beg the question? How could he tell which way or whether the wind was blowing in a photograph of a place he's never been to? Unbelievable.
Because, John, because you can see the image, so you can clearly see it was a squally day. Because you can see it.
Well, I just caught on to something. Wait one. I just caught on to something here. We got Ackham virus in here. Sorry to change up on you. This is what he said in chat. They say the globe doesn't satisfy the second law. ... How much heat energy would the Earth have to lose to satisfy it? Are you drinking this morning, son? Come off mute.
What's up, Kiwi?
What's up, Ackham virus? They say, who are they?
Flat Earthers.
Okay, flat Earth. So to take your stereotype fallacy a little further, they say the globe doesn't satisfy the second law, and
Yeah.
your rationale is how much heat / energy would the Earth have to lose to satisfy it? Can you? This is so stupid. It's hard to put into language. What the hell are you talking about?
I was wondering if there's an amount of heat or energy that the Earth needs to lose into its surrounding system in order to satisfy the second law of thermodynamics.
Who said it didn't satisfy it in the first place? Can you have entropy increase without heat or energy change?
I'm not sure. That's the reason I'm asking this type of questions.
You don't even know that, and you're asking this question?
Yeah, because I'm curious.
What is the second law of thermodynamics?
I'm not sure, but according to y'all, it's about high pressure going to low pressure. According to y'all,
I'm not sure.
So I'm trying to understand what y'all version of the second law of thermodynamics is.
I'm not sure.
Oh dear.
Yeah, do you have a problem with me being honest?
Sorry, I got.
He's just trying.
No. You can laugh. Laugh all you want.
Hold on.
That's a good thing. You can laugh.
The one thing I would say is that, I mean, you've been on the scene for at least a year, I would say, and to not know these arguments, seeing you're in the chat every day, it's embarrassing. How come you don't know?
Hold on.
The second law of thermodynamics. How do you not know this?
For instance, I might actually know, but I just don't want to say that I know. You have to remember that I don't really take this too seriously. So I'm asking questions to get y'all answer, but I want to pretend like I don't know anything so I can accept y'all answer without any kind of bias.
Really? Well, they say the globe doesn't actually satisfy the second law. Who's ever said that?
Isn't that what y'all problem? Y'all call the sky vacuum a violation of the second law?
What does that have to do with heat?
That would be a part of the globe. And thermodynamics, I figured thermo means heat.
But here's
I could be wrong. I have no problem being wrong. But this is just a question that I was asking because I really wanted to know. So do you have an answer for that, QE?
Oh boy. Well, if you tell me what the second law of thermodynamics is, then I'll friggin' walk you stepwise through it.
No, just go ahead. Just go ahead and spit it out.
Go ahead, what? Go ahead, what? You don't have a claim yet.
Unless it doesn't need
you don't have a claim yet
or energy, or like I said, unless it doesn't need any heat or energy loss to satisfy the second law of thermodynamics.
Virus.
Need to go back
if you're trying to learn something, right? You're trying to have a discussion with QE. You're trying to assert things about a law that you just claim you don't know about. So when he asks you about it,
I'm asking about it.
Why don't you
I'm not
do
telling
the
you
first
anything
thing
about
that
it. I'm
normal
asking
people
about
would
it.
Would be look it up, right? And then you guys could talk about it. Why do you go straight to I just don't know and I want to see what you say? Because if you don't listen to what I'm saying, bro, if you don't understand the law yourself and he gives you a rebuttal to the question that you ask, how is it going to make any sense if you don't understand the very law you're asking about? Do you understand what I'm saying?
It might make complete sense to me if he explains it in a certain way.
Hold on.
You just never gave it a chance. You're just not giving it a chance. And maybe other people, and it may be other people in the audience that want to know as well.
What the fuck? I'll worry about what the audience is getting. Who the fuck do you think you are, Virus? Do you think I need you to worry about what I communicate with my audience? No, mate. Just accept when you don't know something, rather than saying, I might know, I might just be really elusive when it comes to the second law of the... Just say I don't know.
Okay, I don't have a problem saying I don't know.
Then don't make any claims.
I didn't even make a claim.
You did.
What, y'all have a problem with the second law of thermodynamics with the globe? That's all I know.
But you just claimed that you don't even know what the second law is. That's what I'm saying, bro. You got to start with some type of a fucking default, bro. If you don't even know the law, how are you asking questions about a law you don't know about? And then come here and claim that you don't know it.
Because I might actually know about it. So why don't you just tell me, answer the question? Why don't you just answer the question? The question I posted.
How
Unless
much
you
heat
think it's a
energy
non
would the
sequitur.
Earth have to lose?
If you think,
Shut up!
if you think it's a non sequitur,
Shut up!
He's repeating your question.
Here's your question. How much heat energy would the Earth have to lose to satisfy it? It's non sequitur. What, do you think there's a cutoff of heat to lose? Oh, now the Earth satisfies the second law. What the hell? My word, son. Go back to romper room.
Do you want to hear what I found on second law? So I sat through endless, boring hours of MIT lectures because I didn't know what the second law was. Now, I'd heard summaries like high pressure to low pressure was your example. Now, when I parroted that back, I was challenged to expand on it and couldn't do it. So I thought, well, I've got to go and watch these endless, boring, crappy videos. So that's precisely what I did. Now, while it wasn't necessarily that useful, it was great when I stumbled across a clip that was helpful.
The content is provided under a Creative Commons license. Your support will help MIT OpenCourseWare continue to offer high-quality educational resources.
Who's playing that?
Me.
Donation or view additional materials from hundreds of MIT courses. Visit MIT OpenCourseWare at ocw.mit.edu.
All right, let's try another pretty simple process. Let's just take a gas in some volume, V, and over here is going to be vacuum of equal volume, and we're going to remove the barrier. You know what's going to happen spontaneously, right? The gas is going to fill the available volume once it becomes available, right? You know what's going to happen spontaneously, right? The gas is going to fill the available volume once it becomes available. And we're going to remove the barrier. The gas is going to fill the available volume. Take a gas, and over here is going to be vacuum, and we're going to remove the barrier. You know what's going to happen spontaneously, right? The gas is going to fill the available volume. Fill the available volume. Fill the available volume. Fill the available volume.
There you go. That was the most useful bit I found. He draws a container and says you take a gas in a volume, put it next to a vacuum, and then you remove the barrier. And the gas fills the available volume.
If you want to expand on that, Nathan, I just dropped the other one in Master B.
Yeah, sure.
With an actual demonstration of it.
One of these bulbs, some bromine, and in the other, I have a vacuum. And if I open the tap between these two, you will see spontaneously the bromine rush from one to the other. Now that is the simplest change we can have, perhaps, because all that happens is a change in entropy. In this case, the expansion into a vacuum, nothing else is involved. There's no energy change, there's no temperature change, there's no change except entropy. So without the entropy constant.
Thank you, Chocolate. Very useful.
No problem.
Did that help, a common virus? Someone put him on server mute. Yeah, they have. Or he left and came back. Did that help, become virus?
yes, it did. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Like I say, endless, boring hours of watching MIT lectures to find that one little snippet that is useful to everyone. Put a gas with pressure next to a vacuum, the gas goes into the vacuum. It's just as simple as that. Now, if the sky's a vacuum, we've got gas pressure, that gas pressure would go into the vacuum, just like the guy in MIT says. It's called entropy.
But Nathan, what happens if it's just 0.00001% of pressure?
It still goes into the available. It still fills the available volume.
Yes, it would. You're right.
A blind sniper. Based on that, can you now tell us, in a summary, the second law and entropy and gas pressure next to a vacuum?
That's a bit much, isn't it?
Say that one more time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, please. Now that you've seen that from an MIT professor and then the other one that Chocolate put up, please summarize what happens when you have gas next to a vacuum, since you just saw that and heard that.
I figured just equalizes out.
Man, that's progress. Amazing progress from a I can't believe my ears.
Oh, I can't either.
So it would equalise. In other words, the gas we're breathing at high pressure would disperse into the available volume until it reached equilibrium. So we wouldn't have 14.7 psi here. That would disperse into the vacuum until we were at pretty much the same exact pressure as is claimed to be outer space. 10 to the minus 17 torr would be what we would be experiencing here on Earth if the sky was a vacuum, because the gas would fill the space.
Okay, but yeah, I just wanted my question answered. I don't really agree with that, but I'm not.
Don't agree. It's a law of nature. Yeah, hold on.
I just really wanted my question answered.
Yeah,
that's all.
It's not agree, disagree. We are talking about a law of nature, inviolable, never to be defied, always applicable law of nature. Not an agree, disagree situation. He's just describing and demonstrating the law of nature when he says the gas at pressure will fill the available volume. That's a law of nature. That's what's going to happen whether you agree or disagree. The point is that outer space, claimed to be a vacuum, is an absolute abortion of this natural law. It violates it completely. Ergo, outer space isn't real. You can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum. That's a violation of this natural law. You don't have to like it, but it's not an agree-disagree situation. Law of nature, mate.
Okay, I still don't agree, but I'm not here for that.
No,
okay.
Listen, you don't have that opportunity anymore. You came on and posed a question. It got answered. You said it would equalize. You
I got my answer. Okay, that's it. Okay.
No. There is ramifications.
No. Okay.
Oh, yes, there are. Don't be a coward, blind sniper. If it equalizes.
Okay.
Okay, what?
Okay.
Go on, tell him, 10th man. Tell him. There's ramifications.
But he keeps interrupting me. There are ramifications when your questions get answered scientifically, even. And then you do not agree with it after it got answered, and you agreed with it before you said you didn't agree with it. So what is going on with your little backsliding here?
Yeah, there's a word for it. It's called zealotry.
How about this?
Yep.
My question was answered. I'm happy. That's it.
So what does it mean?
What was your question?
When gas pressure, right?
Oh, no,
so
hold on.
He
didn't state a question. He made a claim.
I asked a question.
What are you talking about? You made a claim.
My question was, how much heat energy would the Earth have to lose in order to satisfy the second law?
And then you said, I bet you they don't even know.
And my answer was...
and you said, and you answered it. They don't even know. Tell us.
You just gave me an answer, so obviously you know.
What's the answer?
It doesn't need to lose any heat energy. Y'all have it about the gas.
So your claim and your question was a non sequitur, like I said from the beginning.
It's a malformed question.
That's what I said from the get-go. If you wouldn't have had me muted, you would have said that. You
would
have
heard non sequitur.
No. Hold on. He's cried foul. Now, if we hadn't have had him muted, he'd have explained that to us really clearly. Now we've laid it out to him.
If it was a non sequitur, I said, if it's a non sequitur, just say that and I would be satisfied. That's what I said, but you had me muted.
When did you say that?
When you had me muted, obviously.
When we had you muted, when you had verbal diarrhea that you couldn't support your train wreck claim.
No.
You mean that time?
But the ramifications of cum virus are that, given that you accept that it would equalize, I think was the word you used, that we can't have a sky vacuum. Yeah. That's the ramifications. You appreciate that?
No, I don't. But like I said, that's not what I was here for. Y'all answered my question, and I'm happy with that.
You may not have come here for that, but that is the answer to your question, and you even validated that. But now you can't say after
it's like I said.
Stop interrupting me.
Like I said.
Oh, there you go.
It's fine. You are good. You answered my question. I'm good.
Blind sniper, we're in the same reference frame. Don't interrupt me. You're not good after proven to be wrong and won't admit it. That's not good. And you even validated it for yourself. And then when asked, what does it mean? You backtrack. Yeah. Shame on you. You're not honest.
Zealotry. He accepts that it would equalize, except when it contradicts his religious belief. So because he's accepted it, this is where we can declare zealotry.
Why doesn't it equalize?
Why his religious belief says. Fill space? I was just about to say that. Because his religious belief says otherwise. That's the essence of zealotry.
Yeah. So what's his thinking? How does he explain it to himself?
He can't explain it. It's just zealotry.
Has nothing to do with the shape of the earth. Please stop doing that.
My bad, Akamvara, sorry.
I appreciate that apology and I accept it. Thank you so much for that, Nathan.
So, Blind Sniper, if it's going to equalize into the vacuum because of the available space, and we don't see it equalizing, what does that mean?
There's probably forces acting upon it. At least that's what I'm guessing.
What forces?
If you add, I can understand it, but if you just ask what forces, then I'm just going to answer with weight.
Can you demonstrate that?
Weight's down. Gas expands in all directions.
I'm sorry, Nathan. My bad.
I was just going to say weight is down.
Yeah, I was saying the force that I was talking about is just weight.
That's a vector of down that you're measuring.
Yeah.
Well, gas expands in all directions, including up and out into a sky vacuum if it was one. You know, equalization, as you described earlier, conceded and then decided it wasn't relevant because of your religious belief that it isn't doing that.
My religious belief doesn't.
Yeah, you've got a religious belief that it isn't doing that. And why? Well, because forces. Well, what forces? Well, down. Well, no. Gas expands in all directions. So this downward weighing things. Gas is expanding in all directions. Up! That's how we have the gradient.
Can I ask something, Rick?
I was just going to say that's how we have a gradient. You know, the gases are produced at ground level, but they make their way up.
Well, that's the point. He said weight, but gas is going up, so it can't be weight because it's going up.
But wouldn't that give it a projectile-like motion?
Yeah, projecting straight into that sky vacuum, mate. Vast speed.
No, I mean like a normal... I'm sorry, go ahead. My bad.
No, just do it very quickly. Rapid equalization. You know, we would never reach the point where we ever had gas pressure if the sky was a vacuum. There'd be no way for the gas pressure to form in the first instance. As soon as any was pumped out of a rock, it would immediately vacuate and go into the sky vacuum. You'd never reach a point where we ever had any pressure.
Can I ask something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Does gas molecules have weight to them?
I've just gone over this. Weight being down. Yeah, also up.
Okay, but do
Blind
gas
Sniper,
molecules have weight?
Does gas go in all directions? Let's go basic here. Does gas move in all directions?
Yes, I believe so. But I also believe they have weight, which gives them a projectile-like motion.
Yeah, you could just ignore.
Weight gives a projectile-like motion? That's a non sequitur. Define weight.
Downward force.
Weight is a downward force. Do you have a citation?
No, not at the moment, but I might be able to find one.
Please. I want to know what this force is. Is it a
weight
fundamental
is a downward
force?
How come it's going up?
Because things can fight forces. Things can do that. You can fight a force.
You can fight a force. Really? Citation, please.
Yeah, if somebody is pushing against you,
citation,
push back.
please. We want citations before the next words come out.
Oh, this is all based on the assumption that gravity is a force. And hey, even if you presuppose that, then gravity is a weak force versus entropy, which is a strong force. It's not a good argument.
You know, that's right, Arvin, but he didn't use gravity. He said that if the second law, once it was made relevant to him, that everything would equalize with the available space. He said that. So now he's saying the reason they don't equalize is because of weight. So now QE's asking him, what does weight do? And then he says, well, it's pushing everything down. And then he has to realize that it's not pushing everything down because gas goes up. And he's stuck again.
I say it once more. Arwin's summary ended that conversation, by the way. I appreciate the roundup from you, 10th Man, but Arwin basically just took a big crap on it. So thanks, Arwin. Nicely summarised.
Yeah, but it had nothing to do with gravity. I'm going to go see if I can find a citation or something, but remember that.
I like how you guys like to assert forces, but no longer like to use the word gravity.
Yeah, I know.
Very adorable.
The trench warfare.
But gravity isn't a force.
We know.
I can't call gravity
we know
a force.
that.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, so
the globeheads on your side aren't going to be very happy for you saying that, Virus. You know that, right?
Okay. Well, is weight a force?
I see weight as a force.
And as John asked you,
that's the reason it goes in pounds and newtons and stuff like that.
I know. I was just I want to round out. So, have you been asked for a citation in this regard, by any chance?
No, I'm finna look for one now though. So I'm damn phone. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go quiet and I'm gonna go look for a citation.
Saved by the bell. Phone call, eh?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, my bad. It was the other phone was ringing.
It's all good. Hopefully, we'll get a citation for the next show. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Of course, a massive thank you to all of today's Discord and G+ panels for making this after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!